All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice exam series, where we're going through another set of questions together on our latest exam. As always, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Donna is working with the client on putting away their clothes in the proper place after the clothes have been washed. Donna will instruct the client to put away the clothes and then, if necessary, gently direct the client in the right direction by touching their shoulders or elbows, but only briefly before fading. What is Donna specifically using? So looking at Donna's behavior, we always want to identify first whose behavior are we worried about. And we're looking at Donna, and what is Donna doing? Well, she's teaching this client to put clothes away. Donna gives the instruction to put the clothes away. And then, this is the important part, if necessary, she will gently direct the client with physical touch. So it's some sort of physical prompting Donna is using. She's given the SD, put away clothes, and then physically prompting, but importantly, if necessary. And then the physical prompt is only briefly used before it's being faded quickly. So let's think about that. What type of physical prompting, or what do we call physical prompting, that is only introduced as necessary and then faded quickly? A, physical prompting. So let's be careful because yes, this is a form of physical prompting, but the question wants to know specifically what type. And so you want to be very precise when giving your answers. It's also why we always read every answer choice. So B, partial physical prompting. Also, yes, right? She's touching shoulders, touching elbows. It is a type of partial physical prompting. But specifically, we're talking about graduated guidance. Graduated guidance occurs when we briefly or only as necessary introduce a physical prompt, and then we fade it very quickly. And then D, errorless learning. If Donna was errorless teaching or using errorless learning, she wouldn't wait to see if the prompt was necessary. She would just introduce the prompt immediately. So the type of prompt Donna is using specifically is graduated guidance. Ralph is typically well behaved, but he will throw his toys around the room during playtime. Ralph's teacher decides that Ralph will need to clean up the toys he threw and then also clean up the rest of the play area before going to recess if he throws toys. What punishment strategy is the teacher implementing? Okay, so we have different punishment strategies that we use. And when we're talking about consequences, yes, we want to look at future behavior to see what type of consequence it is. But there are specific strategies used for punishment. And probably the three most common would be overcorrection, response cost, and timeout. At least those are the most commonly thought about punishment strategies that are specific for punishment. So what strategy is this teacher using? Well, Ralph, we know, throws his toys around. And so Ralph's teacher makes Ralph clean up the toys he threw and then also clean up the rest of the play area before going to recess. In other words, Ralph has to clean up his mess or his environment and then make the rest of the environment nice as well. If we look at A, overcorrection, this would be overcorrection. What type of overcorrection? We would consider this restitutional overcorrection, where you repair the environment to a state that was better than before. A response cost would be what? A response cost would occur if something was taken away from Ralph or removed from Ralph in response to throwing away the toy. Recess isn't necessarily removed. He's just required to engage in overcorrection before going to recess. What about timeout? Well, Ralph is not put in timeout, so be very careful. Ralph's goal here, or Ralph's task, is overcorrection. She's not necessarily taking away recess or putting Ralph in timeout from recess. She's making Ralph engage in restitutional overcorrection before he gets to go to recess. And then resurgence. So you might sometimes get a answer choice like resurgence, which has nothing to do with what is happening here, because resurgence is related to extinction, but it's a good fluency check. If you know what resurgence is, then you can clearly eliminate that quickly. If you don't, then sometimes it can get confusing because you might not be familiar with what that term is, which again is why fluency is so important. So what punishment strategy is the teacher ultimately implementing? It's going to be overcorrection. A behavior analyst contracted through a school received a request from a teacher for access to a client's treatment plan. The analyst does not work with this teacher and is unsure if the child is in this teacher's class. What should the behavior analyst do before giving access? All right, we have an ethical question, a privacy question. With privacy, we always want to err on the side of caution. We want to make sure the person who is getting access to information, they have consent, they have permission. So privacy questions are usually pretty straightforward. In this case, what does the behavior analyst need to do to give access to the teacher? Because they're contracted through a school and the teacher wants the treatment plan. Now, the analyst doesn't work with the teacher and is unsure if the child is in this teacher's class. However, even if the analyst did work with this teacher, the analyst still wants to be sure that the teacher has access or the right to this client's personal information. And so what should the analyst do before giving out access to this teacher? A, nothing. The teacher has a right to the plan because she teaches at the school. Well, that's not necessarily true. Even if you work at an ABA company, that doesn't mean you have a right to every bit of information from a client or a client's private information. So the teacher doesn't have a right just because she's at the same school. Be refused, the teacher is not part of the treatment team. Well, that might be true, might not be true, but there's another step we can take before flat out refusing access. C, the analyst should ask the principal if it is okay to give the teacher access. We shouldn't check with the principal. Maybe the principal knows, maybe they don't. Who do we need to ask? Well, we've got to ask the client's primary stakeholder or guardian before giving access. If they say it's okay, then we can give access. If they don't say it's okay, then we have to refuse, and then they can speak with the teacher or escalate it further if necessary. But before we ever give out private personal information for clients or anybody we work with, we have to check first and make sure that it is okay. A functional analysis reveals a child's aggressive behavior trends upward during the attention condition and the escape condition while remaining relatively flat during the tangible condition. The analysis has been done twice and revealed the same results each time. What is a possible explanation for the behavior? So we have a functional analysis question. Let's visualize this, right? So we're doing aggression, and let's say, like the question says, aggression trends upwards during attention. So let's say it looks something like that, and then it trends upward during escape. So let's say it looks something like this, but it's flat during the tangible condition. So something like that. So in other words, the aggression is happening more and more during attention and escape, and it's relatively flat during tangible. So it's not really changing or moving upwards or increasing during tangible. Now, what is a possible explanation for this behavior? A, the behavior is functioning for attention and escape. That is one possible explanation given what we know so far. Now, is it the right one? It's unclear, but it is possible that is the case. B, the behavior is not functioning for a tangible. That is also possible, right? Because the behavior, if it's flat down here, it's not changing, then there's a good chance it's not functioning for a tangible. If it's really high and flat, maybe it is functioning for a tangible. But based on this information, it's possible it's not. C, the behavior is functionally automatically. Yes, right? Why would that be the case, or why might that be the case? Well, when you have a situation in a functional analysis where you've got a bunch of behaviors that are functionally happening at the same time, they're crossing over, right? And they're all happening all at once. A lot of times, that's an indication that this might be automatically maintained. Now, again, we're only using the information given to us. We're not sure, but it is a possible explanation. So in theory, all three of these are possible based on the information provided by the question. A child in a classroom frequently shouts out answers without raising their hand. The behavior analyst supervising the classroom wants to decrease this behavior, even though the answers are typically correct. Which of the following would be the most appropriate alternative behavior to teach and reinforce in this situation? When we are choosing alternative behaviors, we want to be socially valid, we want to be functionally equivalent. So we really want the behavior to meet the same goal, and we want it to be meaningful and provide meaningful change. In this case, the behavior of interest is the client or the child shouting out answers without raising their hand. So immediately, right, we're thinking, okay, an alternative would be to raise their hand quietly because it also says the answers are typically correct. So it doesn't necessarily seem the child is just shouting out random things. It's correct answers, right? So if we want to make this socially valid, we don't want to stop the child from answering correctly, but we've got to correct the shouting out. We want to decrease the behavior of shouting out answers without raising their hand. So let's look at A. Would walking around or sitting in the classroom quietly be an appropriate alternative to this? Well, it doesn't really accomplish the same thing. If they're just sitting in the classroom quietly, are they giving answers? Were they raising their hand? No. So it's not really a good alternative. It doesn't necessarily meet the same needs. B, completing work independently. Well, we're looking at shouting out answers without raising their hand. Completing work independently, again, doesn't necessarily meet this goal. What about C, waiting to be called on before giving an answer? Yes, that's going to be a good alternative to shouting out answers without raising their hand. If they wait before giving an answer, they're no longer shouting out the answers. And then D, writing the answer down on a piece of paper still does not accomplish the same goal, or it's not the best way to still achieve the goal of giving these right answers, but also decreasing the shouting out. Waiting to be called on before giving an answer is going to be the most appropriate alternative behavior to teach and reinforce in this situation. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. We would really, really, really appreciate it. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. We'll see you soon.